How are we? My name's Andrew. Today we are going to talk to you a bit about testing. Now, if you're here to see something about Dolphin, which is the game that I'm creating, this is a video that is not about that. This is about testing, and it's more aimed at developers or even automation testers that are interested in testing their software. Because testing software is awesome. It makes you feel good. It makes you a better developer. You'll sleep better at night. You won't break things as much. It's all good. So stick around if you're interested in that. If you're interested in Dolphin, there'll be some more videos coming out on Dolphin pretty soon. So stay tuned. And by the way, if you're an indie developer, how about chuck your game down in the comments, and I'm happy to wishlist it. Would appreciate it if you wishlisted my game as well. It'll be in the comments. Let's get kicked off. All right. So today, what I'm going to show you is basically a testing class that I've created that helps me do testing in my games. I've been using it for the last couple of years. It seems to work well. I thought maybe you guys would appreciate it as well, guys and girls. So let's just create a new project and get kicked right off. I'm going to call it Testy Test McFace Test. Interesting name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a really simple example. Now, you can use this in sort of more complex ways, but hopefully it'll get you kicked off to start with in terms of testing. The idea behind the class I've created, which there'll also be a link in the description, is that you can use it to pretty much instrument any prefab that you've got in your project, right? So in this case, what we'll be doing is we'll create a little player object. We will put a serialized field on it, and then we will use reflection. Well, the script that I've got uses reflection to inject any field you like, any type, into that field, and then off you go. I'm really stuttering my words at the moment, but we'll get there eventually. So let's get this project going. Right. Let's start. Let's start again because I'm just going nowhere at the moment. Rightio. So let's firstly set up our test environment. That's the first thing we need to do. So if you've never done that before, here is how you do it. Basically, you need to create what's called a test assembly folder. So we're going to go hit create testing test assembly folder, and we'll just take the default name, tests. All right, and in there you'll see a little test assembly. We're going to be using that in a little bit, but let's just leave that there for now. In the meantime, we are going to create a new object. I'm going to make it a cube, and I'm going to call it player. Okay, so this is player. So example, this could be any kind of player you've got in your scene, or any kind of an object. And we're going to create a script that's going to sit on that player, and I'm going to make a folder because I like to make folders, and I'm going to call it, I'm not going to call it asset, I'm going to call it scripts, because that's where I like to put my scripts, in the script folder. Alright, and we are going to create a script there, and it's going to be called the player. Right, we've got our player script. Now we're going to drag that script onto the player object. Sorry, just having my cup of coffee here as well. Right, so we've got that on the player script, and now we're going to create a prefab out of that, and we're going to delete that prefab. So we've got our little prefab here. Awesome. Right, now that we've got our player prefab, we are now going to open up our player script. Alright, here's our little player script, and we're going to give it a serialized field. So I'm going to call it private string display name. So this might be the display name of the character or whatever it is that you're building. And I'm just going to whack in a public accessor, public string display name, so we can test it, and that's going to be a display name. Gee, I wish the what's your problem? Oh, that was a bit silly. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so we've got, I'm all over the place today, but maybe I need to drink less coffee. Andrew, you got to drink less coffee. All right. Display name, display name. Right, we're going to test. What we're going to do is, in our test project, we are going to instrument this player component, which is going to be sitting on one of the prefabs in the scene. We're going to set the display name property, the serialized display name property. Now, usually that's actually set by Unity in your games. Unity's got its own sort of dependency injection system. Instead, we're gonna do that ourselves using a script that I've put together, which will be downloadable and free. It's on the website. The link will be down there. So let's get going, right? So we've made our player object. We have it on our player prefab, which is over here. There it is, and you can see it's got no display name at the moment. Let's leave it blank. In the meantime, we have our test assembly here, but for it to recognize your scripts, you actually need to reference them, right? And we reference them using an assembly. So let's go and do that. Create, where am I? Assembly, there it is, assembly definition. Right, I'm just gonna call it, I like to call mine main, I guess. People have different ways they want to call things. I'm calling mine main. That's it. Done. All right. Anyway, what that'll do is it'll kind of reference this player script for you. So now I can go into my test environment. I can hit the tests assembly, and I can go, here you go. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go, here you go, on the assembly definition references. And I'm going to hit this little thing next to it, and that's it there. That's the main one. All right, that's the one that we just made up there. Okay, so now whenever I'm in here, oh yeah, you got to apply it over there as well. Thanks, Unity. Sometimes it's very nice like that. Gets you to do things if you forget. Right, we're going to click on test. We got that now. Yeah. So what happened is that tests now will reference whatever's in the scripts directory. So we are going to create a new test script here, just quickly. So testing C# test script, yep. And we're going to call it the player test. Yay! And I want some more coffee. Not that I need it. Cool. So let's open that one up. And yeah, it's telling me to reload. That's fine because all the assembly definitions have changed. And here is our test class, right? This is the thing we're going to use to test our player, our real player object, right? Now, when you first create a test, there's two types of tests. One is just a simple execution, doesn't wait on anything. And then you've got your enumerator one where you can wait for things to happen. So it might be you're building a dungeon, or you're waiting for the player to move from one place to another, or whatever it is. We're not going to use that one for the moment. We're going to make it really simple. Maybe some later videos we'll do some examples there. Now, before I test my player object, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download my test script. Now, this is free. It's got a whole README, how to do things. So get in there and check it out. But all you need to do is just click this button, hit the download, and we're going to save it. Save as. We'll save it in. Where's my testing test face tests? I think under assets, tests, yep. So basically if we hit the save button, I've just popped it into, I think it'll be in this directory here. Yep, there it is, Covine tests, right? That's all you need to do to set up the Covine tests that you can use. So let's go back into our test, our little test class. And what we're going to do is, I've got my notes here. What are we going to do first? It just says create test, Andrew. So, all right. Good notes, Ben. Well done. So to do this, we need to first get a reference to the Covine tests instance. So I like to go Covine tests. There it is. I'll just like call it CT because it's nice and easy, and I'm lazy and I don't like to type too much. And you just grab an instance of that. Thanks. Is it a thingy? Yeah, that's it. All right. Now, what we want to do is we want to, what we want to do is actually load up that prefab that we've created. All right. So all we need to do in that case is if we go over to our where our prefab is, and we go copy path. I'm pretty sure copy path is there. I don't think I've added that as a script. So you just need to copy path. But anyway, the path is down there. Asset scripts player.prefab. That's what you want. We're going to make a private can spell constant string of the path, right? And maybe even give it a name. It'd be good to give it a name, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's call it the player prefab path. All right, equals that. Thank you. All right. Now we need to load this up, right? Because we want to be able to load the prefab up and instantiate it. Now to do that, we just need to say game object, the player prefab object is going to be equal to asset database dot load asset at path. Thank you. And I don't think I need that generic in there, do I? Yeah, I do. Okay, there you go. All right. So that's our prefab object that has just been loaded out of the asset database. Now what we want to do is actually instantiate one of those in the scene. Okay, so let's go and do that. We can use Covine tests to do that. Excuse me, just hit CT dot, I think it's spawn, yeah, spawn, and I'd like to spawn a player, please. And here is the player prefab object. All right, so that's one of the methods out of the Covine tests that makes it nice and easy. You can basically spawn any prefab you like, and then give it the component that you want to pull out of it. And you can have a look in that method if you want. It's nothing special. Just creates a new object, gives it a name to make it nice and easy for you to look in the scene. Tries to find that component and then gives you an instance with that component. If it's not there, it'll chuck a little error saying, sorry, can't find that component on that object. Right, so now I've got our player. What we want to do is we want to set that serialized field. So this is what, as I said, Unity would usually do. You just type in the name, or you'd find a way to serialize that. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to set that serialized field, and then we're going to get it out using this public method. Yep, and then we're going to check that we've got the right one. So to do that, we're going to say CT dot serialize private. That's another little helper method that I've made. I'll be making a few more as we go, and I'll add them to this repo. So serialize private. I want to serialize something on the player object that I've created. I want to call it. I want to serialize the display name, and I'm just going to call it Fred. His name is Fred. Uh-oh, sounds like my wife's home. Quick. All right. Now now that I've done that, so you'll hear some noises coming in soon, so don't worry about that. So instead what we're going to do now is we are going to serialize the display name. So now what will happen is that in here, it actually goes through and finds the property of what it is that you're serializing. It does that recursively. Okay, so it'll go up the abstraction. So if you've got an abstract class, which is a base class to whatever it is that you're serializing, it'll go up and find that one as well. All right, cool. So we've got that. So we're going to serialize the display name as Fred, and then what we're going to do is an assert. So we do assert dot equal the player display name, Fred, thanks, and if it doesn't, whoops, didn't work. All right. So just one more time, getting a copy of the instance, creating the prefab object, spawning that object in the scene, serializing the display name, the display name here as Fred, and checking if they're equal. All right, let's see if this thing actually works. Before we do that, we need to actually add in the test runner. So let's go to test runner. There it is. Ta-da! And it goes and sticks in a really weird spot. I'm just going to put it there because I like it there, and press the play mode. Yeah, it seems to start out in edit mode all the time, which could be a bit of a trick because there's nothing there, and you're like, what's going on? It's not working. So just click the play mode, and it'll be there. And you just need to hit run selected. We'll see if it works. And there you go. Test has passed. So hopefully that will give you a bit of an idea. Oh, my wife's looking at me. There must be something going on here. All right. Anyway, that's a quick sort of a run through of how you use these tests. There's a lot more we can do with it, and I'll talk a little bit about that in some other videos. Everything's down below. You can download it, play with it, do what you want with it. I'm happy to look at pull requests as well on the repo if you're interested. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.